Hey guys, and welcome to this. Well, I say week. We've been off for a wee while. But this week's End Zone Scoop. I'm here with Dayna and Liz. How are you, girls?
Hi.
Hi, good. The last 2 days have been insane. We have so much to talk about. It's crazy.
Wow, the last 2 days. Everything the last week's been insane.
Oh, yeah, it has been. It really, really has been. It's kind of there is no off season in football. That's just all there is to it. There is no such thing as off season in football for sure.
No,
What have you guys been up
to? Uni and working in the hospital. So I was working there today. But yeah, now I'm here to chat about NFL, and I've had loads of like NFC West like friends being like who support other teams being like, so how do you feel? And I'm like, move on.
But asking me how I feel.
I'm like, that's great. How do you feel?
They are dandy. That is for sure. Well, we should probably talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a few things today in today's show. We obviously have the Wilson Gate. We also want to chat about the QB carousel. So all the moves made, who are the free agents, and what some good signings that teams have made in free agency so far, and also finally the international games, because obviously they're heading to Germany for the first time this year. So let's just rip it off like a band-aid, girls. Russell Wilson. Now, I actually wasn't too shocked when it was announced. I thought, I thought one of the two were going to leave this summer. I was convinced it was Pete. And then when the Seahawks did the usual, we've had our end of season debrief. I'm like, oh, Pete's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I was like, so where's Russell going? And I wasn't surprised that he's leaving. I am surprised in the manner of the way he is left, because apparently he had a pros and cons list for about 14 other teams before Seattle.
Yes, he does his research. I mean, I guess you give him credit for that. Credit, is that the right word? I don't even know.
But we weren't even in the top 10.
You're right. You're right. Well, I know Liz and I have different opinions on this. So I'm going to let Liz go first about the Russell Wilson.
I think I'm with Dayna on this opinion, but we'll see. We'll see where I land at the end.
So these guys are talking about the hype video, right? The hype video. Yeah. So we were chatting about this on DM at the weekend, weren't we? And Dayna, you'd put in the group that you'd seen it, and you told me how you felt about it. I was like, and straight away my instant response was, do you know what? He's really gone down in my estimations. And then I think I gave it like an hour or two, and I watched the video, and then I cried because I was like, this is sad. Like, I'd never ever pictured Russell Wilson at any other team other than Seattle. Mm-hmm. At the same time, yeah, I understand why he's going, because we've had a pretty shitty season, seasons even. But yeah, I never imagined him anywhere else other than with us, and I don't know how I feel about that. So yeah, I'm sad that he's going, but like, I also understand it. Mm-hmm. But I just didn't expect him to ever leave.
Right. Go ahead, Shona.
No, I just think like you have to look at it like in a different stance. Like, yes, he wanted to leave because he made it obvious he wanted to leave, but I think the team even made the decision that they weren't going to fight with him to stay another year, which is I think a good bit of business, because if you look at the Earl Thomas saga, if you look at the Sherman's thing, they let their contracts run out, and then we didn't get any capital for them. So I think Jody Allen has bet on Pete Carroll and John Schneider doing their thing and rebuilding this team. And I don't think she would do that like on the whim, because she knew she had Russell Wilson as her quarterback. So, but then, what do you do if you're bashing your head against the wall with a QB who has made it clear for the last 3 or 4 years now during the offseason, he really has no interest in being in Seattle any longer. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I feel bad for you guys a little bit, because I know that Russell Wilson has been the only quarterback that you guys have known for Seattle. Yeah. You guys are a newer part of the fandom, and not super new because he's been here for 10 years, and that's ridiculously a long time for quarterbacks, but I have been around through this a couple of times. Let's just say that, I have been through this type of thing a few times. And I will tell you that there's two ways to look at this. I totally understand why Russell Wilson was frustrated. I understand where he was saying that my personal goals are not being met. And he has every right to go out there and find a team who he thinks will meet those personal goals. His personal goals are to win more Super Bowls and to be considered one of the greatest of all time. Now, that is a personal goal. That was never a team goal for him. That is one thing about Russell Wilson. I think that most people can agree with. He was hyper focused on himself. He never seemed like a huge team player. He was a leader without question, but a huge team player, there's a difference where you would look at someone like Cliff Averill or Cam Chancellor or Bobby Wagner is the perfect example. They felt like they were the team guy. Do you know what I mean? So I think that we knew that I had a pretty good feeling Russell Wilson would not finish his career in Seattle as long as Pete Carroll was there. But did he even want to go through with a new coach? We don't know that either. And so he wants to pull a Peyton Manning and go find a team that's established and hopefully get some more of those accolades. I will say, and I'm going to get murdered by the Russell Wilson, xenophobes that they're crazy for Russell Wilson. I know one guy on Twitter, he literally changed fandoms and changed his Twitter name. He's all about the Broncos.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, that's he can fan however he wants to fan. Good for you. But this team will be fine. And I don't know that Denver will be the team to get him where he wants to go. He went to the toughest division in football, who's only gotten so much better in the offseason. And so I can't wait to talk about the Chargers, especially, holy cow, they're going to be very difficult. So I think that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is it was never really Pete against Russ. Pete was always a Russell Wilson guy. This was more about John Snyder. This is John Snyder against Russ. And I don't think that there's much love lost between the two of them there. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong, but I just don't think that that's been the case. This team will be fine. And they're not going to be good for a couple of years, or they might be, surprise us and find another, franchise quarterback. But I don't know that the moves that they've made in this free agency say total rebuild to me. They re-signed Quandre Diggs. They re-signed Al Woods. They brought back Sidney Jones. They're making moves to keep those people that were already there. If it was a pure rebuild, they would be like, gut it, start from the bottom, go. And I don't get that feel. Will they still possibly be the fourth best team in this division next year? Probably. Just if people expect that, knowing going into it, it makes life a lot easier. I promise you. Don't have much expectations. But I also don't think that Drew Lock is going to be the quarterback in Seattle. So I think that there's a plan there. There's something going on. I think that all of us, many are relieved it's not Deshaun Watson. I know that there was a lot of people out there who are really ready for him to come. Nope. And so we'll see what happens there. But the fun of this, and this is what I want to impart to Seahawks fans who are heartbroken or whatever it may be, this can be really fun. Because the unknown can really be fun and unexpected. And I think that is a way to look at it. And if you keep your expectations low, then it can be really exciting, because then you never know. You might turn around and get a 2012, 2013 type season in another year. So yeah, it can be good. So yes, we are sad. We're so sorry. Russ, I hope you find what you're looking for that he didn't in Seattle, but this could be fun. It could be good.
Just to end that segue and move on to the QB carousel, there is only about 10 quarterbacks that have reached the Super Bowl age 34 and beyond, which is what Russell Wilson will be next year if Denver were to go towards the Super Bowl. Those guys are Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Kurt Warner, Johnny, I can never say his last
Unitas.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's in those guys' caliber.
Well, we'll find out quickly, won't we? Because we'll find out if it was coaching or Wilson. We'll find that out. Much like we said, is it Brady or Belichick? Discovered, no, it was really both of them. They were fantastic. So we'll see what happens there, But yeah, that's a steep hill to climb. for him, and we'll see, in a really, really, really tough division. So we'll see. Could be fun.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the QB carousel a wee bit because there has been like some major moves happening. Also, Kirk Cousins. I don't know how this guy does.
Dude makes more money than I know. It's insane. Yeah. So I was going to talk about the quarterbacks today. Not that I haven't already talked too much. I'm so sorry about that. But so obviously the ones traded, we had Russell Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos. They got a pretty good haul out of it. I think that most people expected them to get three first-round picks out of there. That might tell you what the market was for Russell, and maybe it wasn't as much as we thought it was. Or the fact that they were not going to let him go to the NFC. And that's the AFC team that gave him the most for it. So we'll see that. The other, which was probably less surprising, was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was traded to the Washington Commanders. Yes, that will take a little bit of getting used to saying, but the Washington Commanders from the Colts. Now, what's interesting is this gives the Colts the 6th year in a row that they have a new starting quarterback. But Carson Wentz just was not, I don't know what Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, is looking for. Carson Wentz wasn't it. And that's okay. I mean, he has that right to do that. But so he ended up in Washington. And do I think that that'll be a better fit for him? I don't know that, but I know I really respect Ron Rivera. So we'll see what he can get out of him there. And they do have a pretty decent team built up around him. So we'll have to see how that goes. So those were the two that were traded. Now that's not over, you guys. We have to keep in mind that there could be more trades coming with quarterbacks because the whole Deshaun Watson thing is sitting out there. So obviously at some point he will be traded. I mean, so we'll add one more trade there where he goes. I do think it's quite funny that the Colts even tried to call. What you're going to send Deshaun Watson to a division rival? That's insane. I have no idea why they did that, but so they have that. But whichever team he goes to, they're probably going to trade whoever their starting quarterback is. And that could be right now, obviously, Sam Darnold with the Panthers. The Saints probably would keep Taysom Hill since they just gave him all that money for some reason. So they wouldn't have anyone to trade. But now supposedly the Browns are interested. So Baker Mayfield could be on the move. The Falcons are interested. And so that means Matt Ryan, who just restructured his contract, could end up being traded. So there's a little more going on there that could be interesting for trades. Now, when you look at who's available free agency, it's kind of a sad list, people. I'm not going to lie to you. But there's a couple that are interesting. Ryan Fitzpatrick, God love him in his giant red beard and his nuttiness. Love him to death. He's still out there and he's always happy to play for whoever the hell wants to pay him. And that's what I love about him. I think that's awesome. Got some, I think he's pretty solid. Andy Dalton is out there. Cam Newton still out there. Then there's Tyrod Taylor, Jameis Winston, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota. I think when you start getting down just a little bit, I think really the names that you're going to see maybe pop up, Jameis Winston. I think that he proved last year that he played very well for the Saints, and I think that is good. And then you have Marcus Mariota. And so unless they, decide, because he's still with the Raiders, or he was with the Raiders, I believe he's not now. He's free agent now. But I think that unless some team decides to ask him to come as a quarterback, he'd probably be a starter for someone. Who that is, I'm not really sure. But I think those are the two names that you'll probably see pop up before any of the others. So which one of those guys intrigues you guys the most? Because Seattle doesn't have quarterback.
I was always quite a fan of Winston. I quite liked him at the Bucs, and obviously he had the vision issue, and then also his stats were always horrendous. But
he could throw a touchdown as good as an interception, though. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's pretty good for what I couldn't do that too. So I think it was quite interesting to see where he lands. I don't think he's a fit for Seattle. I have a 2 theories about Seattle, which I could be completely wrong. I think they're going to either go with I think his name is it Willis at 9.
Malik Willis.
Yeah,
or
they are gonna play Drew Lock and completely tank, and then wait until 2023, which has a better QB class. Could be wrong. That's what I think. That's the two options. I think they either go for a quarterback at 9 or they wait till the following season. But now that they've re-signed guys like, Diggs, Jones, Disley, even though I don't think the deal is that big, agents like to spend things. I think they're not going to completely tank. That's what I thought before all these signings came on. I think they might go for a quarterback at 9. Watch this. He's going to trade back, and I'm going to be like, oh, for God's sake, I'm done.
Yep.
I was going to say, I mean, they're choosing these picks for a reason, right? But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, we can't, I feel like, tank any more than we already did this season. So,
no, we can.
And we didn't.
We can.
Yeah. Maybe we can. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
We can absolutely talk more. I would be curious to see where Winston lands, because I think he does have the talent to be a starter for a team who maybe need that transition quarterback until they can wait for the better draft class in 2023.
Sorry, I just keep checking Twitter. It keeps popping up on my phone. I'm just making sure we don't have anything we need to talk about here. The other, and Liz, I'm going to shoot this one to you. The other one that is really interesting is Jimmy Garoppolo is still sitting out there for the 49ers. Now, everyone kind of thought he might be one of the first ones to go and get picked up. That has not happened yet, much to the chagrin I don't know if you guys follow Grant Cohen. He's a 49ers corner. He's hilarious, and you should follow him because he's so ready for Jimmy to move on. But he's quite the name that's out there too. Now, are San Francisco sending him to Seattle? No. Would he end up in Indianapolis? Maybe. That could very well be. Yeah. So of the three now, Liz, Mariota, Garoppolo, or Jameis Winston, who do you think is going to be the first that gets picked up?
Ooh. That's quite an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, I've got nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo. I do think he is good. Remember, he's not the best out there, but he's a good quarterback. Like, and he's easy on the so. Yeah, I think probably Jimmy Garoppolo out of all the three, I think probably the first to get picked up, but. Again, he's a bit Marmite with people. You either like him or you don't.
It's very true. And I think that, unfortunately for him, his injury history has not been helpful to him, and so I think that that's been a problem too. But I just don't think that people are going to see the spark. But will he be a filler for this bad quarterback draft? He very well could be. And I think that that's one thing that maybe some teams will do. I can see the Colts going after one of the three. Garoppolo kind of sticks out to me there. We'll see what kind of what happens. Seattle, I can see them doing something dual where they might draft a quarterback. I don't know that they would use their first round pick for it unless they really liked them. And I don't know these quarterbacks. I don't know why anyone would do that, but from this year, but maybe a vet and a rookie and have that more of a true, that's what they did with Russell Wilson before. They're not afraid of that. And so do they bring in a vet for maybe a 2-year deal that's not going to kill them and just kind of see what happens? That could possibly happen, too. We have to remember, too, there are a lot of teams out there who are needy, and we're going to talk about free agency just a second, that are still needy for some positions that someone might say, well, I want your quarterback. So what are you going to give me for my 3 fabulous tight ends or 3, defensive ends that you need? Really? I would take Derek Carr for that. Thank you very much. So we'll see.
I love him.
Could be fun.
He would look great in blue.
Derek Carr. Derek Carr in Seattle. That's okay. Maybe.
No, I'm kidding. That wouldn't work.
I'm like, that would be interesting. But yeah.
So there's actually some really interesting names still in the free agency pool. Von Miller, who I am convinced is going to go back to the Broncos. Because
not now. They just got Randy Gregory. Von Miller will be out of that conversation now.
Oh, that's a shame because he was talking about them in the Super Bowl. We'll take him in Seattle.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones, that was a big surprise for me, the Cardinals letting him go. We have Allen Robertson, wide receiver who played for the Bears last season. Stephon Gilmore still available. Bobby Wagner, Tyrann Mathieu, Trent Brown. Like these are all very big. Jadavion Clowney, remember him, guys? Dwayne Brown. Also, we haven't re-signed him in Seattle, but that is still. I think apparently they are still interested in re-signing him. So there's a lot of big names. Odell Beckham Jr. as well. So there's a lot of big names that are still out there. Just need Melvin Ingram. These big names are non-stop every time I'm looking down this list.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So obviously the CBS Sports have ranked them from 1 to however when they think they're going to be picked.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously number 1 is Teron Armstead. So where do you think he will end up? Because obviously he's no longer with the Saints. It's him and Von Miller 1 and 2. And it was JC Jackson, but he's obviously now gone to the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Right. Here's the thing with this off season. I don't know that we can predict where people are going to go. Sorry, just making sure.
I know.
Okay, we're good. But so I feel like Ian Rappaport, when he's on NFL Network, he'll be like, hold on. You know, no, I think what's interesting here is that you're going to have a lot of teams who are being a little, okay, two polar opposite ideas. You have Jacksonville, who spent every drop of money that they have been saving for the last 20 years on this one. And what that did, Doug Peterson came in and said, we're spending all the money. I'm getting all the free agents, right? And the problem with that is they blew out the market. So they said, especially with that contract for Kirk, it was ridiculous, right? And so they blew out the market. So now other players are going to be like, did you see what they got? And teams are going to be like, no, thanks. Because not everyone, in fact, most of the good teams don't have that kind of money to spend. Mm-hmm. The Jacksonville Jaguars have that much money because they were so bad for so long, right? So and good for them for trying to build up this team. They're going with the Rams model. They're buying their team, and that is okay, because obviously drafting's not their super strong point. So I think that what we're going to see is players maybe deciding on the team they want because those teams aren't going to have the money to match those crazy contracts that have been coming out. Now, I said at the beginning of the show, I've heard that the Chargers have an interest in Bobby Wagner, that he would be such a perfect fit there. I can't even hold on. And but I think that would be fascinating. Sorry, guys. I think that would be fascinating.
Slide, guys. We need to check.
So I think that would be really fascinating. Von Miller, I think, is going to have the pick of his teams because there are so many defensive and needy teams. And so he's going to want to see who's around him, because he's not old, but he's not young. And so he's right kind of in that mix where he needs to be a little careful at the end of his career. Armstead, I think that he's going to command quite a price tag. And I think that's why we haven't heard about some of these bigger names, is because they're like, well, this team gave me this. What are you going to give me? And that's the smart way to do free agency. So that's exciting. That'll be really fun.
I think as well, like, you need to keep checking your phone. Guaranteed the minute we end this, like, that's when it's all going to come through. All of them will come through. These amazing moves every single time.
I just realized we haven't actually spoke about one quarterback who could also be on the move after his little temper tantrum he had during the offseason, Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Oh, dang it.
DJ
Reed is going to the Jets, you guys.
Who?
DJ Reed.
Oh.
He's going to the Jets.
That's sad.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, the Jets. But you know what? I think that I get excited for players too. I really wanted him back also. But at the same time, I understand the want to go to a new team with a young coach and a young quarterback. And I get that too. So that's good for him. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So sorry about that.
Oh, Kyler Murray. I was just talking about his staying out the dummy.
Kyler Murray's not going anywhere. I think he'll be in Arizona this one more year. I think that what he wants just got completely screwed by Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers getting $50 million. Aaron Rodgers now makes more a year than Patrick Mahomes. Every quarterback's going to want to top that. And that's going to really be difficult for a lot of teams. You wait till the Broncos have to redo Russell's contract next year. it's not going to be pretty, right? And so they all are going to want to hit that. So I think he'll probably, because there's not going to be a lot of suitors for him, knowing that price tag is going to go up. So I think he'll be there, another year. Whether when his contract comes up, he'll resign there, that I don't know. That's going to depend on how much Arizona builds around him and wants to pay him. That could be the next offseason drama that the NFC.
Yeah, because like they've committed Kingsbury to a 5-year deal like that.
I don't get that.
On the basis of what exactly? Because
Mhm.
you had a great season last year, but then you basically choked on a bit of steak pie towards the end, and you were 1 and done in the playoffs. Like that playoff game was horrendous. Anyway, I could talk about the Cardinals office all day because I don't understand them. But
Yeah.
I'll talk about a bit more cheery for our international fans. Obviously, we're now heading to Germany this year, which is also very exciting because for Scotland people, it's cheaper to fly to Germany than it is to London. Makes no sense, but it's true. So, Liz, do you want to chat to us? Sorry, excuse me. Chat to us a little bit about that. Who are the home teams at the moment, and also, I believe we have a big coup in the international games this year for the first time.
So we have got 5 games in total. So Cardinals are going to be playing in Mexico, Packers, Saints, Jaguars coming to London, and Tampa Bay for Munich in Germany. So first year in Germany, which will be exciting. I think that's part of a 3-year deal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Jaguars obviously back at Wembley, Packers and Saints both at Tottenham, which can be interesting. Right before we went live, we were chatting about this actually in the so for the Buccaneers game, for example, had that have been Russell still at Seattle, it could have potentially been Seahawks Buccaneers, but no, given he's now a Gunner, it's more likely that it'll be Chiefs. So I think Chiefs Bucks would be pretty exciting. I would genuinely want to go for Germany for that game. Sort of wasn't that bothered about flying before, but now then it'd be pretty cool.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up the Bucks opponents next year. So it looks like,
what did the UK guys do though to get Green Bay to come here? I don't know.
Who the hell knows? Isn't it in the agreement that you have to come over now, right? So I don't know.
This could be crazy, you guys. So I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the Bucks, the Bucks home. So these are the home teams. So the teams that will be playing against them will be whoever was going to come to Tampa Bay to play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this list: the Rams, the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Saints. But we know the Saints are already going to London, so it won't be the Saints, right? The Falcons, the Panthers, Green Bay, and Kansas City. Germany is going to get a hell of a game. Whatever it is. They could make the Rams go over and play them. You have the reigning Super Bowl champions. How crazy would that be? And
amazing.
The Rams beat Tampa Bay to get there. So that could be fun.
Oh, yeah. Don't throw that game.
Oh, pick Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. Which one do I want to go? And we have to remember that Green Bay has never played in Europe. They're the only team left that has never played in Europe. So that could be huge. That Germany game, I think I'm going to go. I was saying I was going to come to London. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, I think I'm going to It's Munich.
Oh, my God.
It depends when it is. Isn't what? I'm sure we read somewhere it's going to be like weeks, like 9 or 10 that they're going to do the Bucks game. Is that right?
Is that closer to like November time? Or
I think so, yeah.
Chilly.
Okay. I'm already in London for the marathon, so come cheer me on, guys.
And when is the marathon?
October 2nd. So, but yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
That face. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to see who else. So then you said the Saints also, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at who that possibly could be. So there are away games. Let's see. So if they're home, well, the Cardinals, but that's not going to be the Cardinals because they're playing in Mexico. So we know it won't be them.
Yeah.
The Falcons again, the Panthers again, obviously same division. The Browns.
Ooh, that could be quite a good one.
Deshaun Watson ends up in, that could be really interesting. Let's see. San Francisco, won't be the Bucks, maybe the Eagles. Yeah, that one would be, oh wait, is this the, I don't think that's right because Seattle. Oh, yeah, there's Seattle. Yeah. So, I had that backwards. I apologize. So if it's at home, they're the home team. So it would be the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Bengals. The Bengals have a good chance of going, you guys. They play like 3, and so does Seattle. Plays like 3 of these teams. The Raiders might be real interesting too, because I have a really big fan base over there. So it could be really fun. I think that I'm glad that they, are bringing those games back. I'm glad that people are going to get to see them again. I think that they, oh gosh. Okay. And so I think that what's going to be interesting is whether or not Green Bay goes. I think that'll be the biggest thing with Aaron Rodgers coming back and getting that huge thing, and the Packers never having played there. It's got to be their turn. It has to be time. So the only difference between Green Bay, as most of you guys might know, is that Green Bay is owned by the fans. They are a community football team. They're the only ones. So there's not a lot of ownership leverage that gets pulled there in the NFL. And that's usually how these teams end up. Over in Europe is the NFL wants something from them, or they want something from the NFL, and they're like, great, go play in London. The Chiefs, I think, probably have a very good chance of going because they got the draft. So the NFL draft will be here in Kansas City in 23, and they would really like a Super Bowl. So I think that maybe they would have seen the Chiefs there too. So it'll be a good game. It'll be fun. But that Bucks in Germany, I mean, there's not going to be a
so excited.
Yeah.
That would be so good.
Yeah, I think it'll be super fun.
Okay, well, I think that's all we are chatting about today. Unless, Dayna, you have any more breaking news from Twitter you want to tell us?
No, hold on. Just DJ Reed. No. Okay, years, 33 million from the Jets.
No.
Don't blame him.
Don't blame
him.
That
does leave a cornerback position. Trey Brown, the rookie from last year, will come back for Seattle. Remember, he was injured early in the season last year. And then they have Sidney Jones, who they paid like they believe he's a starter. But do not forget that Tyrann Mathieu is still sitting out there. Seattle.
I'd like him.
Don't forget.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I'd call him.
But he's going to want too much money. Yeah. Still, it would be good.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have time for, guys. So we don't want to keep you too long. Obviously, it's the off season. So we try and keep it as quick and concise as possible. We'll be back soon with any more free agency drama and also in the lead up to the season. So have a good off season, guys, even though it's not really off season, it's just constant.
That's right.
And we'll chat soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.